Hey Bully family, what's up? What's up today? This is Curtis here at bullytree.com. That's www.bullytree.com. And I'm here today because I love bulldogs and I love bullies and I love American bullies, American Pitbull Terriers, Staffordshire Terriers, Staffordshire Bull Terriers, American bullies. You name them, I love them. Presa Canarios, you know, French Mastiffs, French Bulldogs, English Bulldogs, everything. Love them all. You know, um, but I'm also here because I heard that uh, just a couple days ago, District 44 in California, there was banning of bully breeds, uh, with some exceptions. Um, for a long time, we kind of knew that this was on the table, and that was something that we had to deal with eventually. Um, it happened. Uh, they ruled unanimously in favor of sterilization of bully type breeds. Um, uh, they also suggested that one way that bully owners or breeders can get around sterilizing their dogs, which is spaying or neutering, is to register their kennels. And with a registered kennel, then you will register as a breeder. You don't have to register your dogs to spay or neuter your dogs. But that will come with some clause. For example, they may tell you uh, how much dogs you can breed, how many litters you can have a year, etc., etc. In some states, that's the way they do it. In other states, they're not quite as specific. Basically, in a state like California, I expect that they will want to tell you you can have 2 or 3 litters a year, or etc., etc. And some of these things are really good, for some breeders. For most breeders, specifying how often a dog, how much litters you can have per year is really good, because some people out here really overbreed their dogs, and they bring them to the ground. Also, it's becoming a bit of a population problem, where so many thousands of dogs are being put down every month or every year. Tens of thousands of dogs a year. Many of them are bully breeds being put to sleep every year because of neglect, or dogs were not well socialized, and or they picked them up from somebody that didn't want them. And so overpopulation is a big problem. There are a lot of reckless breeders out here. But what I wanted to get to is that this is a time, now that this law has passed, this is a time for the people that have been claiming to have loved their dogs so much to step up. If you love your dogs as much as you always claim to, this is the time to show it for your dogs. Okay? If you love your dogs, there are several things you can do. You have options. You can spay or neuter your dog. You sterilize your dog, Keep your dog. If you love the dog just for the dog, this bill passing is going to show up a lot of breeders. You can also, if you choose not to spay or neuter your dog, you can also register as a breeder with your city. Register as a breeder. You can save the fact that doing so will save you from having to spay or neuter your breeding stock, right? I'm not sure how many dogs they will allow per kennel. I've seen that it's California. I know in places like Georgia and stuff. I don't think in Georgia, or in the Midwest, I don't think they have a big problem with kennels registering and how many dogs they can breed. But in places like California, they're really concentrating on population control. So anyway, yeah. And the other choice you have is is to make a couple of your dogs working dogs, CNI dogs, which most of us wouldn't do. By the way, bully dogs, American Pitbull Terriers, make very, very good CNI dogs. And another thing you can do is you could become a you could become a law enforcement officer and use your dog as a working dog that way. For most of us, that's not a possibility. Or you can do what I did when I wanted to have more dogs. I literally moved out of New York City because I wanted to live in a country where I can have dogs, and I can see my dogs run, and I can really, really, enjoy my dogs. I loved my dogs that much that I totally, I totally moved out, and I came to Indiana, and that's where I'm at right now, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. Um, my question is, how much do you love your dog? How much do you love your dog, and what are you gonna do with your breeding stock? Whatever you do, please don't let it be something that's underhanded. If you do underhanded stuff, it's gonna come back to bite you. You understand? Uh, I think it's a misdemeanor or something like that if you don't follow the law. So check it out, okay? Um, Here's another thing, a question I wanted to ask. So ABKC, what is ABKC doing about the situation? Are they helping any, or are they just talking? ABKC has probably made millions of dollars already from registering dogs, you know, and so this is a time for I think that ABKC should step up for their dogs, step up for their dogs, hire a lawyer, and fight this thing. Let people know you're gonna have a fight every time you pick on our dogs. You know. So that's one thing that I wanted you guys to think about. ABKC said there's a big registry and having all these shows and all that stuff. Well, this is the time to step up. ABKC, do your thing. Okay. The next thing I wanted to say is that a lot of this is our fault also, because we feel that we can just sit back, breed dogs, and not educate nobody. And that ain't gonna happen. You gotta educate people. A lot of this stuff is the fact that they banned our dogs in District 44, California. A lot of that has to do with the fact that none of us, I did, but many of us have not been educating. We have not played a part in educating people. We haven't stepped up when we see something wrong. If you see a dog that's vicious, every once in a while he's out of the yard. Nobody calls the cops. Nobody talks to the owner. It's a bulldog, guys. We all gonna be targeted if something goes wrong. If that dog bites somebody, we all gonna be targeted. Why would we not speak up when we see somebody that's breeding poor dogs? When we see somebody abusing their dogs, why would we not speak up? So what happens when you don't speak up? In the end, when the problem gets exaggerated, you being a part of the community are also gonna be part of the fault in BSL's eyes. Okay? Now this is what they wanted to do. They wanted that the ban effect in District 44 to trickle over to different counties and states and cities. You see? That's how it starts. Okay? So if you're sitting in your little rocking chair at home right now thinking, it didn't get me, it's coming. And this is something I said and wrote 12 years ago on the internet. 12 years ago. And it's happening. Guys, if we hope to preserve these dogs for the next generation, because that's what sterilization does. What sterilization does is it deems your dog unbreedable. And when they pick on a breed so much that they're unbreedable, before long, we don't have dogs to breed. Within 40 or 50 years, our dogs will be minimal, And so we have to preserve these dogs for the next generation by educating people. That is the only way that our dogs are going to survive. You think breeding is going to help your dog survive? No, because when the law passes, there can be 1 million dogs out there. They're going to get them all. State by state, kennel by kennel. So please, educate somebody. Please educate somebody. Tell them about the dogs. Before they even get into dogs, tell them what a good dog should look like. What a bad dog looks like. What a kink tail is. Tell them about the dangers of walking a dog without a leash. Tell them about the tenacity and the strong will of our bulldogs that only certain owners really should have them. Not everyone can own a Pitbull Terrier. Let's face it. Bulldogs are strong-willed. If you don't have the pizzazz to deal with them, they're gonna dominate you every single time. I have a 2-year-old girl here that she still thinks that she could dominate me. Up to now, as firm as I am with her, she still thinks that she's the boss. And so, every day, it's a struggle to assert yourself as dominant. Not everyone can do that job. So please educate somebody, okay? I want to see ABKC stepping up for the bully community. ABKC, I'm calling you out. I know somebody some rep or some judge or some owner is gonna see this. I'm calling out ABKC. Step up for the community. You know, you're a big registry, right? This is the time to step up for the bully community. California District 44 needs you. You gotta do something. Okay? Peace. Sorry about you guys dogs out in California. Register your dogs with the city. Register your kennel. So that you don't have to spay and neuter your dogs. Okay? Peace and love. Be good.